Captain John Miller stood tall as the airlock of the Earth Alliance ship Solitude opened. The metallic smell of the Galactic Council station filled his nostrils. This was humanity's big moment, their first official meeting with the Council of 12 alien species who ruled most of the known galaxy. "Remember," John said to his small team, "we are here to make friends, not enemies." The team nodded. They had trained for this moment for years. Earth had only discovered faster-than-light travel 15 years ago, making them newcomers in a galaxy where some species had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. A blue-skinned alien with 4 arms stepped forward. "Welcome to Council Station Alpha. I am Coordinator Zeal. Please follow me." John and his team walked through wide hallways. Strange beings of all shapes and sizes moved around them. Some floated instead of walked. Others had too many limbs to count. The humans tried not to stare, but it was hard not to. They entered a massive round room. 12 raised platforms formed a circle, each with a different alien representative. In the center was a smaller platform, clearly meant for the humans. "The Council recognizes the representatives of planet Earth," announced a tall, thin alien with silver skin that seemed to shimmer in the light. John stepped onto the platform. His heart beat fast, but his voice remained steady. "On behalf of all humans, I thank you for this welcome. We come seeking friendship and knowledge." A rumbling laugh came from one of the platforms. It belonged to a reptilian being with red scales and yellow eyes. Ambassador Kestok of the Vexari Empire. The Vexari were known to be the most militaristic species in the Council. "How charming," Kestok said, sharp teeth flashing. "The babies of the galaxy want friendship. Tell me, human, how many wars has your species fought among itself?" John hesitated. Earth's history was filled with conflict. "We have had many wars, but we have learned from them. We now value peace." This made Kestok laugh harder. Several other council members joined in. "Humans don't like war," Kestok mocked, looking around at his fellow council members. "They value peace. How will they survive in this galaxy?" The laughter grew louder. John felt his face grow warm, but he kept his expression neutral. During his military training back on Earth, he had learned to hide his emotions. Now that skill was proving useful. "We come offering trade and cultural exchange," John continued, ignoring the mockery. "Earth has much to offer." The silver-skinned alien raised a hand, and the laughter slowly died down. "Captain Miller, the Council appreciates your diplomacy. However, you must understand that in this galaxy, strength is respected above all else." John nodded. "We understand strength takes many forms." Kestok snorted. "Pretty words. But when the Drozak swarms come, or when pirates target your colonies, will pretty words protect you? I think not. We hope for peace but are prepared for alternatives," John said carefully. "Enough," said the silver alien. "Let us proceed with formal introductions." For the next 2 hours, each council member introduced themselves and their species. John listened carefully, noting which ones seemed friendly and which ones didn't. After the meeting, John's second-in-command, Lieutenant Paul Green, approached him in a quiet hallway. "That went well," Paul said sarcastically. John shook his head. "They don't respect us yet, but they will." "The Vexari seem particularly unfriendly," Paul noted. "Yes," John agreed. "We should send a message back to Admiral Carter. Tell her to watch the Vexari carefully." As they walked back to their ship, John thought about Earth's history. Humans had indeed fought countless wars among themselves. They had become very good at warfare. Too good. That's why they now valued peace so highly. But if these aliens thought humans were weak because they preferred peace, they were making a dangerous mistake. "They think we don't like war because we fear it," John said quietly to himself. "They don't understand we avoid it because we know exactly what we're capable of." The Solitude prepared to depart from the station. Their first diplomatic mission was complete, But John had a feeling this was just the beginning of a much longer story. Admiral Susan Carter frowned as she read Captain Miller's report from the Galactic Council meeting. She sat in her office at Earth Alliance headquarters, a tall building in what used to be called Washington, D.C. outside her window. Flying cars moved between buildings in neat lines. So the Vexari think we're weak, she said to herself. She had spent 30 years in Earth's military and knew what happened to those who appeared weak. Her computer beeped. "Admiral, we have new intelligence about Vexari movements," said her aide through the speaker. "Show me," Susan ordered. A 3D map appeared above her desk. It showed Vexari ships moving toward human colonies on the edge of Earth's territory. "This doesn't look good," Susan muttered. "Call a meeting with the Defense Council immediately." Meanwhile, in a research station orbiting Jupiter, scientist Alan Patterson made a discovery that sent chills down his spine. He had been studying ancient alien signals when he found something alarming. "Computer, run that translation again," Alan said, pushing his glasses up his nose. The computer displayed text on his screen. "Species hashtag 4721 eliminated. Peaceful nature made conquest simple. Moving to next target." Alan dug deeper and found more messages like this one. They were from a hidden archive of Vexari military records. The records showed that the Vexari had a pattern of targeting peaceful species who had recently joined the Galactic Council. "I need to warn Earth," Alan said, immediately sending a secure message to Admiral Carter. Back at Council Station Alpha, John Miller was having dinner with representatives from other species when his communication device buzzed. He excused himself and found a quiet corner to read the message from Earth. "Vexari ships approaching our outer colonies. Intelligence suggests hostile intent. Return immediately. Admiral Carter." John frowned. This confirmed his worst fears about the Vexari. As he prepared to leave, a small alien with purple skin approached him. "Captain Miller, I am Elsie of the Araxian Federation," the alien said in a soft voice. "I must warn you. The Vexari see your people as their next conquest." "Why are you telling me this?" John asked. "Because my people were once like yours," Elsie explained. "We valued peace. The Vexari took 3 of our worlds before we could mount a defense. Now we exist as their servants." John thanked Elsie for the warning and rushed back to his ship. The Solitude departed immediately for Earth. During the journey home, John received Alan Patterson's findings about the Vexari's history of eliminating peaceful species. "This is worse than we thought," John told his crew. "The Vexari don't just mock peace-loving species, they target them." When the Solitude reached Earth, John went straight to a meeting with Admiral Carter and other military leaders. He shared everything he had learned. "The Vexari think we're easy targets," Susan said, standing before a large screen showing maps of human territory. "They're moving ships toward our colonies on Alpha Centauri, Proxima, and TRAPPIST-2. What's our response?" asked General Frank Davis, a gray-haired man with a stern face. "We could try to negotiate," suggested a diplomat named Laura Hayes. Admiral Carter shook her head. "The Vexari only respect strength. If we appear weak now, they'll take everything." "I agree," John said. "Based on what I saw at the Council and the intelligence we've gathered, the Vexari won't stop unless forced to." "Then we have no choice," Susan decided. "We activate Protocol Omega." The room fell silent. Protocol Omega was created years ago as a last resort plan in case of alien aggression. It meant revealing military capabilities that Earth had kept hidden from the galactic community. "Are we ready for this?" Laura asked, concern in her voice. Admiral Carter's expression was grim but determined. "We've been preparing for this possibility since we first looked at the stars. The Vexari think humans don't like war. They're about to learn why." The human colony on Proxima was peaceful on the day the Vexari attacked. Farmers tended their crops under the orange sky. Children played in fields of alien grass. No one expected danger. Red flashes appeared in the sky. Vexari warships, 20 of them, moved into position above the colony's main settlement. Their weapons fired without warning. Buildings exploded. People ran screaming. The colony's small defense force tried to fight back, but they were no match for the Vexari fleet. Similar attacks happened at the same time on 2 other human colonies. The Vexari struck hard and fast, expecting little resistance. News of the attacks reached Earth within hours. Videos showed the destruction and the dead. Over 2,000 humans had been killed. In the Earth Alliance Emergency Command Center, Admiral Susan Carter watched the reports with a stone face. Around her, military officers and government officials spoke in urgent voices. "They hit all 3 colonies at once," said General Frank Davis. "Classic Vexari tactics. Strike hard, create fear, then offer terms that favor them." President William Clark, a tall man with tired eyes, looked at Admiral Carter. "What are our options, Susan?" "We activate all our hidden defense systems," she replied. "We've had weapons platforms disguised as research stations near all our colonies. They appear harmless but pack serious firepower." "Will it be enough?" the president asked. "Not to win outright," Susan admitted, "but enough to surprise them and buy time." The president nodded. "Do it, and contact the Galactic Council. They need to know what the Vexari have done." Diplomat Laura Hayes was given the task of taking Earth's complaint to the Council. She arrived at Council Station Alpha the next day and stood before the 12 alien representatives. "The Vexari have attacked 3 human colonies without warning or provocation," Laura declared, her voice steady despite her anger. "Over 2,000 civilians are dead. Earth demands justice." The council members shifted uncomfortably. The Vexari representative, Kiztok, showed his sharp teeth in what might have been a smile. "The humans entered territory that the Vexari Empire has claimed for centuries," Kiztok said. "We simply protected what is ours." "That's a lie," Laura countered. "Those colonies were established with council approval in unclaimed space." The silver-skinned council leader raised a hand. "The council offers its thoughts and concerns for the human losses. We will form a committee to study this dispute." Laura couldn't believe what she was hearing. "A committee? While our people are dying?" "Council procedures must be followed," the leader said firmly. Laura looked around at the alien faces. Some seemed sympathetic, but none spoke up for Earth. She realized then that the council would do nothing. The Vexari were too powerful, and humans were too new to galactic politics. "Earth will remember who stood with us in our time of need," Laura said. "And who did not." She left the council chamber, anger burning inside her. Back at the colony on Proxima, the Vexari ground forces landed, expecting to find only frightened survivors. Instead, they found human soldiers waiting for them, using weapons the Vexari had never seen before. The Colonial Defense Force had been hiding their best soldiers and equipment. Now they fought with surprising skill and determination. Commander Steve Bennett led a group of 30 soldiers against a much larger Vexari force. They used the colony buildings and surrounding forest as cover, striking quickly and then disappearing. "They said humans don't like war," Steve told his troops as they prepared another ambush. "Let's show them how wrong they are." On Earth, Admiral Carter received the first reports from the colonies. The hidden defense platforms had destroyed 3 Vexari ships, and the ground forces were fighting back effectively. "It's time for Phase 2, Susan told her officers. "The Vexari think they know what humans are capable of. They have no idea." She pressed a button on her desk, sending a coded signal to military bases across Earth and throughout the solar system. Ships that had been disguised as cargo vessels revealed their true nature. Weapons factories hidden underground increased production. Earth was going to war. The Vexari Admiral Zrak stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Conqueror *. His yellow eyes narrowed as he watched the battle displays. 3 of his ships had been destroyed by hidden human defense platforms. This was unexpected. "These humans have some fight in them after all," he growled to his second-in-command. "But it won't save them." A communication officer approached. "Admiral, we've intercepted strange signals from Earth. Their military is activating across their system." Thrax laughed. "Let them. Their technology is primitive compared to ours." On Mars, inside what appeared to be a simple mining operation, Colonel Jane Wilson watched as huge doors opened in the red ground. Giant ships rose from underground hangars. These were Earth's true warships, kept hidden from alien eyes until now. "All ships report ready status," said her assistant. Jane nodded. "Tell them to move out. Operation Awakening has begun." Similar scenes played out across Earth's solar system. On the Moon, on Jupiter's moons, even in the asteroid belt, hidden bases revealed their true nature. Ships, weapons, and soldiers that no alien knew existed prepared for war. President Clark addressed all of humanity on a system-wide broadcast. "For 15 years, we have explored space peacefully," he said. "We hoped to find friends among the stars. Instead, we found that the galaxy is a dangerous place where the strong prey on the weak. The Vexari attacked our colonies because they thought we were weak. They were wrong." He paused, his face grim. "Since we first reached for the stars, Earth has been preparing for this day. We showed the galaxy only our peaceful face, but we never stopped preparing for war. Now the Vexari will learn what happens when you attack humanity." Across the solar system, humans cheered their leader's words. The long deception was over. Earth would now show its true strength. In his laboratory on Jupiter's moon Europa, Alan Patterson worked frantically with a team of scientists. They had been studying Vexari technology for years in secret. Now they were finalizing weapons designed specifically to counter Vexari shields and armor. "The final tests are complete," Alan told Admiral Carter over a secure channel. "The phase disruptors work perfectly against their shield technology." "Good work," Susan replied. "Get those weapons to our ships immediately." On Proxima, the human defenders continued to hold off the Vexari ground forces. Commander Steve Bennett and his troops used their knowledge of the terrain and surprise tactics to confuse the enemy. "They fight like wild animals," complained a Vexari officer to his troops. "No honor, no proper battle formations. We fight to win," Steve said as his team ambushed another Vexari patrol. "Not to look good doing it." Back on Council Station Alpha, diplomat Laura Hayes met secretly with representatives from smaller alien species. Many of them had suffered under Vexari aggression in the past. "Earth is fighting back," Laura told them. "We invite any who wish to join us." A small green alien named Drix spoke up. "The Vexari crushed my people centuries ago. We will provide intelligence on their fleet movements." Others made similar offers. Not all could fight, but many could help in other ways. For the first time, someone was standing up to the Vexari, and it gave them hope. In deep space, Captain John Miller commanded Earth's first battle fleet. 20 warships, sleek and powerful, moved toward Vexari territory. Their mission: to strike at the enemy's supply lines. "The Vexari think they know human warfare from our history books," John told his crew. "They studied how we fought each other, but we've spent centuries thinking about how we would fight aliens if we had to." His ship, now renamed from the Solitude to the Retribution led the fleet toward their target, a major Vexari supply depot. "They mocked us for not liking war," John said quietly. "They're about to learn why we tried so hard to avoid it." The human counterattack had begun. The sleeping giant was awake, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Vexari supply depot orbited a small moon in a distant star system. It was a massive station, protected by energy shields and a fleet of 10 warships. The Vexari considered it completely safe from attack. They were wrong. Captain John Miller's fleet approached using a tactic no alien race had seen before. The human ships released thousands of small metal objects into space, creating a cloud of debris. Then they hid inside this cloud, becoming invisible to Vexari sensors. "All ships maintain position," John ordered. "Wait for my signal." On his command bridge, John watched the enemy ships. They had noticed the debris cloud, but thought it was just space junk. They didn't realize the danger until it was too late. "All ships, attack pattern Delta," John ordered. The human fleet burst from the debris cloud, firing their weapons at the surprised Vexari ships. The new phase disruptors cut through Vexari shields like they weren't even there. 3 enemy ships exploded before they could even return fire. The others tried to form a defensive line, but the human ships moved in unpredictable patterns, making them hard to hit. "Target their engines," John commanded. "Don't let any escape to warn others." Within 20 minutes, the battle was over. All 10 Vexari ships were destroyed. The supply depot, now defenseless, surrendered to the humans. News of this victory spread quickly through human space. For the first time, humans had defeated the Vexari in a major battle. People celebrated in the streets of Earth's cities. But Admiral Carter remained serious. "One victory doesn't win a war," she told her officers. "The Vexari will respond with everything they have." In another part of space, Commander Eric Thompson led a special forces team on a dangerous mission. Their target was a Vexari communications hub that coordinated enemy fleet movements. Eric and his team of 12 soldiers wore advanced stealth suits that hid them from Vexari sensors. They moved through the enemy station like ghosts, placing explosives at key points. "This isn't just about blowing up their station," Eric told his team. "It's about making them afraid. They need to feel that we can strike anywhere, anytime." When the explosives detonated, they didn't just destroy the station. They sent a message to all nearby Vexari ships. "Humans are watching. Nowhere is safe." Back on Earth, Dr. Olivia Martinez worked with military leaders. She was not a soldier but a historian who specialized in Earth's many wars throughout history. "The Vexari fight like the ancient Romans," Olivia explained to a room full of generals. "They use overwhelming force in structured formations. Their weakness is that they don't adapt quickly to new situations." She showed them historical battles where smaller, more flexible forces had defeated larger, more rigid armies. "We need to be like the Mongols against the Chinese, the Finnish against the Russians, the Vietnamese against the Americans," she said. "We must use our knowledge of warfare's dark history to our advantage." The generals listened carefully. For centuries, humans had tried to move beyond their violent past. Now, that past might save them. In the Galactic Council, the mood had changed. News of human victories against the supposedly invincible Vexari shocked many species. Ambassador Kiztok was no longer mocking humans. "These primitives must be stopped," he hissed to the council. "They fight without honor, without proper battle formations. They use trickery and deception." The silver-skinned council leader looked thoughtful. "Or perhaps they simply fight to win, using their strengths against your weaknesses." Other council members whispered among themselves. Some began to wonder if they had underestimated these humans. On Proxima, the tide of battle had turned. Commander Steve Bennett's forces had received reinforcements and new weapons. Now they pushed the Vexari invaders back. "They expected us to surrender," Steve told his troops as they prepared to attack the main Vexari base. "They thought because we value peace, we wouldn't know how to fight." He looked at his soldiers, men and women who had been farmers and teachers just weeks ago. Now they were warriors, defending their homes with surprising skill. "Let's show them that humans don't like war not because we're bad at it," Steve said, "but because we're too good at it." 3 weeks into the war, the Vexari were no longer laughing at humans. They had lost 27 ships and 4 space stations. Their invasion forces on human colonies were being pushed back. For the first time in centuries, the mighty Vexari Empire was losing battles. In his private chambers on the Vexari homeworld, Supreme Commander Gurktaz smashed a table with his fist. His red scales darkened with anger. "How are these primitives defeating us?" he shouted at his generals. "They've been in space for barely 2 decades. One brave general spoke up. "Sir, they fight differently from any species we've encountered. They don't follow traditional battle patterns. They use deception, surprise, and psychological warfare. Then we must adapt, Gurktaz growled. Gather our entire fleet. We will crush these humans with one massive attack on their homeworld. On Council Station Alpha, something unexpected was happening. Representatives from smaller alien species were meeting secretly with Laura Hayes. They were impressed by human successes against the Vexari. My people have technology that could help Earth, said Drix, the small green alien. We've been too afraid to use it against the Vexari, but you humans have given us courage. Others made similar offers. The Araxian Federation promised medical supplies. The Zinthar Collective offered advanced sensor technology. Slowly, a secret alliance was forming around Earth. Laura was careful not to show too much excitement. Earth welcomes any help in our fight for survival, she said diplomatically, and we promise to remember our friends when this war ends. Meanwhile, Captain John Miller's fleet had joined with forces from the Jupiter defense bases. They were preparing for their biggest mission yet, an attack on the main Vexari fleet base in the Orion sector. John studied the enemy position on his command screen. They've reinforced their defenses since our last victories, he told his officers. This won't be as easy as the supply depot. Colonel Jane Wilson, who had brought the Mars fleet to join him, nodded. They're learning from their defeats. That makes them more dangerous. Then we'll need to try something they won't expect, John said. He outlined a bold plan that made some of his officers nervous. That's extremely risky, Captain, Jane pointed out. John smiled grimly. The Vexari think they're learning how we fight. Let's show them we have more surprises left. Back on Earth, Admiral Carter received a disturbing report. Vexari spy drones had been detected throughout the solar system, gathering information on Earth's defenses. They're planning something big, Susan told President Clark during an emergency meeting. Possibly an all-out attack on Earth itself. The president looked worried but determined. How ready are we? We've activated all our defenses, Susan replied. But a direct attack on Earth would cause massive civilian casualties, even if we win. Then we need to prevent that attack, the president decided. How quickly can we implement Operation Thermopylae? Susan's eyes widened slightly. It's not fully tested, sir, but given the circumstances, we could have it ready in 3 days. Do it, the president ordered. If the Vexari want to come to Earth, let's make sure they never leave. In deep space between Earth and Vexari territory, something strange was happening in the asteroid belt of an uninhabited star system. Human ships moved among the asteroids, attaching devices to the largest rocks. Engineer Ben Foster floated outside his ship, securing another device to a massive asteroid. These gravity manipulators will turn these rocks into the biggest weapons in human history, he said to his team over the radio. Commander Lily Robinson supervised the operation from her ship. The Vexari will expect missiles, energy weapons, and fighter ships, she said. They won't expect us to throw mountains at them. On Proxima, the human forces had completely driven out the Vexari. Commander Steve Bennett stood on a hill overlooking the main colony, now being rebuilt after the fighting. A communication came in from Earth. Steve listened, then turned to his second-in-command with a grim expression. The Vexari are gathering their entire fleet for an attack on Earth, he said. This war is about to enter its final phase. His officer looked worried. Can Earth withstand such an attack? Steve looked up at the stars. The Vexari think they know what humans are capable of. They're about to learn that we've only just begun to fight. The Vexari attack fleet was enormous. Over 200 warships gathered at their forward base, preparing to jump to Earth. It was the largest fleet the Vexari had assembled in centuries. Admiral Zrax addressed his ship captains through a system-wide broadcast. The humans have surprised us with their tricks and deceptions, he admitted, but now they will face the full might of the Vexari Empire. Their homeworld will burn, and they will learn their place in the galaxy. The Vexari captains roared their approval. None of them noticed the small, stealth human probe watching their fleet. On Earth, Humanity prepared for the coming storm. Cities built underground shelters. The orbital defense platforms readied their weapons. Every ship that could fight was brought into position. In the main command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Susan Carter watched the enemy fleet movements on a large display. "They'll be here in less than 48 hours, she told President Clark and her assembled officers. Operation Thermopylae is ready. We've placed gravity manipulators on over 50 large asteroids in their expected path. And if they don't come through that path?" asked a worried general. "Then we fight them ship to ship," Susan said simply. "Either way, humanity will not fall easily." In space, Captain John Miller's fleet took up positions in the asteroid field between Mars and Jupiter. The asteroids had been carefully arranged using the gravity manipulators, creating a narrow path that the Vexori would have to follow to reach Earth. "All ships, take your positions behind the larger asteroids," John ordered. "Remember, we need to keep the Vexori focused on us, not on the asteroids themselves." His ship, the Retribution Asterisk, hid behind a massive rock nearly a kilometer wide. Around him, 50 other human ships did the same, each ready to spring the trap. On a special command ship at the edge of the solar system, Commander Lily Robinson monitored the gravity manipulators. "All devices are functioning at full power," she reported to Admiral Carter. "We can move the asteroids on your command." Hours passed. Tension grew among the defenders of Earth. Then the sensors lit up with warnings. "Vexori fleet detected," called out an officer in the command center. "They're entering the solar system now." Susan leaned forward. "Are they following the path we laid out?" "Yes, Admiral. They're taking the most direct route to Earth, right through the asteroid field." Susan allowed herself a small smile. "Good. Now we wait until they're fully committed." The massive Vexori fleet moved through space with confidence. Their sensors detected the human ships hiding among the asteroids, but they weren't concerned. Their numbers were overwhelming. Admiral Zrax watched from his flagship. "The humans think they can ambush us," he said with amusement. "Let them try." The Vexori ships entered the asteroid field, weapons ready. The human fleet suddenly emerged from hiding and attacked, drawing the Vexori deeper into the field. "Admiral," called out Captain John Miller from the Retribution Asterisk, "the Vexori fleet is in position. We've taken heavy damage keeping them occupied." Susan nodded grimly. "Begin Operation Thermopylae." Commander Lily Robinson activated the gravity manipulators. Across the asteroid field, 50 massive rocks began to move, pulled by artificial gravity toward the Vexori fleet. At first, the Vexori didn't notice. They were focused on the human ships. Then a sensor officer on Admiral Zrax's flagship called out in alarm. "Sir, the asteroids are moving. They're on collision courses with our ships." Zrax looked up in shock. On his display, he saw the massive rocks accelerating toward his fleet. "Evasive maneuvers," he shouted. But it was too late. The narrow path through the asteroid field had been a trap. Now the Vexori ships were packed together with little room to maneuver. The first asteroid, nearly a kilometer wide, smashed into a group of Vexori cruisers. The ships shattered like glass. More asteroids followed, each one destroying dozens of enemy vessels. "Pull back," Zrax ordered. "All ships, retreat." The Vexori fleet tried to escape, but they were trapped by their own numbers and the continuing meteor storm created by human technology. From his ship, John Miller watched as the mighty Vexori fleet was torn apart by rocks moving at incredible speeds. "This is Captain Miller to Earth Command," he reported. "Operation Thermopylae is a success. The Vexori fleet is in disarray." In the command center, officers cheered. But Admiral Carter remained focused. "Order all ships to attack," she commanded. "Don't let them regroup." The human fleet surged forward, firing on the confused and damaged Vexori ships. It was no longer a battle but a rout. 2 months after the Battle of the Asteroid Field, Captain John Miller stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. The room was packed with representatives from every species in the galaxy. All eyes were on the human officer. "The war with the Vexari Empire is over," John announced to the silent room. "Yesterday, Supreme Commander Gurktaz signed a peace treaty with Earth. The Vexari have agreed to return all captured human territories and to pay for the rebuilding of our damaged colonies." Whispers spread through the hall. The mighty Vexari, defeated by a species that had only been in space for 15 years. It seemed impossible. Ambassador Kestok, representing what was left of the Vexari leadership, stood sullen and silent. His once proud posture was now bent with the shame of defeat. The Vexari had lost nearly 70% of their fleet in the failed attack on Earth and the battles that followed. The silver-skinned council leader spoke. "This council recognizes the new status of Earth in galactic affairs. The human victory has changed many things." John nodded. He knew what the alien meant. The balance of power had shifted. Species that had lived under Vexari control for centuries were now declaring independence. The old order was falling apart. "Earth did not want this war," John said clearly. "We came to the stars seeking friendship and knowledge. But when attacked, we defended ourselves as any species would." He looked directly at the council members who had mocked humans for valuing peace. "Humans don't like war," John continued. "Not because we fear it or because we are weak. We don't like war because we understand its terrible cost better than most. Our history is filled with conflicts that nearly destroyed us. We learned those lessons the hard way." The council hall was completely silent now. Every alien was listening intently. "Earth proposes a new galactic charter," John said. "One that protects the rights of all species, not just the strongest. One that prevents the powerful from preying on the weak." He outlined the charter's main points: mutual defense agreements, fair trade rules, and a new council structure where all species had equal votes. Many council members looked uncomfortable. The old system had favored them, but they had also seen what happened to the Vexari when they challenged humans. None wanted to be next. After the meeting, John was approached by Ambassador Kestok. The Vexari seemed smaller somehow, his scales duller than before. "You have humbled my people, human," Kestok said quietly. "Something no species has done in 1,000 years." John shook his head. "That was not our goal. We only wanted to live in peace." "We misunderstood your kind," the Vexari admitted. "When you spoke of peace, we heard weakness. We did not understand that your desire for peace came from strength, not fear." John looked the alien in the eyes. "My people have a saying. If you want peace, prepare for war. Earth has been preparing for 15,000 years. We just hoped we would never need to use that knowledge." As John walked back to his ship, he was joined by diplomat Laura Hayes. Together, they had spent weeks negotiating the peace treaty and the new galactic charter. "Do you think it will last?" Laura asked. "This new peace." John looked out at the stars visible through the station's windows. "It will if we work at it. The galaxy now knows that humans don't like war but will fight if necessary. That knowledge alone may keep the peace for generations." Back on Earth, Admiral Susan Carter stood with President Clark at a memorial service for those who had died in the war. Thousands of names were projected in the air above them, a sobering reminder of victory's cost. "Was it worth it?" the President asked quietly. Susan looked at the names of the fallen. "They gave their lives so that humanity could live in peace among the stars. I believe they would say it was worth it." As the ceremony ended, Susan looked up at the night sky. The stars no longer seemed alien and threatening. Humanity had earned its place among them, not just through strength of arms, but through the wisdom to use that strength sparingly. The galaxy had mocked humans for not liking war, but in the end, it was that very quality, understanding war's true cost and seeking to avoid it, that had made humans such formidable warriors when peace was no longer an option. The lesson was clear to all. Those who truly understand war's horrors are often the most dangerous when forced to fight.